Hey folks, it's Nick Granville. So today I thought I'd talk about Bossa Nova comping for Guitar Daily. This is what I post every day on YouTube, so today, Bossa Nova comping. Now I was taught this by the visiting Brazilian guy who was here, and he sort of showed me the basic pattern and sort of ran from there. I'm definitely no specialist in this area, it's just playing Bossa Novas is one of those things as a jazz musician you're going to end up doing at least a couple of times a night in a set. So I thought I'd talk about it today and how I approach it. So that was a little bit of the chord progression from the Girl From Ipanema, one that you're probably going to get asked to do at some time in your playing career. So the way I was taught it is, let's take a D-flat 6/9 chord like this, because the Girl From Ipanema, originally the vocal was in D-flat, not in F, with Astrid Gilberto. I'm pretty sure it was D-flat. So D-flat 6/9 is a great chord, right? We have D-flat, F, B-flat and E-flat. Pretty straightforward, right? The pattern that I was taught, at least as a starting point, is 2 downbeats, so 1, 2, and then 2 upbeats, 3 and 4 and. Right, so 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. That's bar 1. Bar 2 is the reverse of that, so 2 upbeats and 2 downbeats, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Alright, so that makes the 2-bar pattern. Now, like with most styles of music, if you have a pattern like that, you don't necessarily play the pattern around and around and around, you play variations on it. And a common variation that you'll see a lot of people play is to do 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4. So that second bar we play the end of 1 and we sustain it, and then we play 3, 4. So the second bar becomes 1 and 2, 3, 4. Right, so we're right. And I remember talking to this Brazilian guy who taught me this stuff, and he was saying that, I asked him about the bass line specifically, how you would have, right? A bass line's always on beats 1 and beat 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And it's kind of tricky because you have downbeat and chord together and then chord, and then you have bass note by itself and the 2 off beats, and then you have downbeat by itself and then 2 upbeats, and then downbeat and bass note together and then top note. Alright, so you get this. Right? And all kinds of variations of it, right? That's a tricky one, and I remember asking him about it, and he said if you're playing with a bass player, sometimes he just won't do that bass line. So he said sometimes too, if you have like a tricky chord, like this A-flat 13, he said the Brazilians, or at least the area he comes from, they wouldn't go. He said that's, you know, like something that jazz guys would do, you know, because jazz guys, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? I remember him saying to me a more authentic way of doing it is going. So they would double up on the bass line on bass note. And the thing with what happens then is, sure, you're doubling a bass note with the bass player playing a fifth, but they blend nicely anyway, and they're not playing that bass note real heavy anyway. Typically it's on a nylon string guitar, and typically it's a lighter touch there and stronger on the upper notes. So see there how I put a little variation on it to sort of when I was coming back to the 1 chord. That's the kind of thing they would do. They would vary stuff. They use it as a pattern, just like with in jazz music you might have a swing pattern, and that becomes your basis for what you're playing. It doesn't mean you're just going to play that one thing. You play other rhythms against it and all kinds of stuff, and in the same kind of way they do that. So anyway, that's a quick look at kind of how I comp it. Now I do this with all kinds of stuff, right? So if it was blue bossa, can see with that, it works really well. In any kind of tune, it sort of becomes my default. Now, as I said, it's like this is a starting point. I don't go there if it doesn't work. Like if it's the band's playing something different, then change your pattern to suit and what have you. But anyway, I hope that's been useful. If it has, please subscribe. I post every day on YouTube. My name is Nick Granville. I'm a guitar player from Wellington, New Zealand. Jazz musician, session musician, recording artist. I've done a bunch of albums. You can get this one for free. Go to Bandcamp, play whatever you want type model, the reamped album. I recorded this in Los Angeles with two fantastic musicians. I'll play you out with a little bit more of that Girl From Ipanema.